Lesson 2. What is money? Congratulations for getting to Lesson 2. You have now learned about the difference between wants and needs. Knowing this is very important as it forms the basis of all the purchasing decisions that we make. Have you ever stopped to think about what money actually is and why we value it? Well, if you haven't, don't worry because Sammy did, and this savvy fox is going to share it with you. In this lesson, Sammy will teach you the following aspects of money: its definition, a quick review of its history, a closer look into it and its value, its constant evolution. Let's look at Sammy's definition of money. After years of researching this topic, Sammy has determined that the simple definition of money is this: money is something that a society considers of common value that allows us to exchange goods and services with one another. Sammy's first question when this definition was discovered was, does this mean that if everyone in society were to consider cows of equal value, could a cow be considered money? Looking back to history, Sammy learned that, as a matter of fact, livestock was at one point used as a method of exchanging goods and services. The means of exchanging goods or services for goods or services instead of using money is called bartering, and it is actually the oldest form of commerce. It is still actively used today. As an example, if you trade hockey cards or clothing, you're actually bartering. Before money existed, people traded goods and services for other goods and services in return. These goods included things such as livestock, vegetables, grains, etc. This was the manner in which goods and services were exchanged in 6000 BC. That's more than 8,000 years ago. Imagine if money was never invented and we all had to bring a cow to the mall to buy our favorite items. What a mess that would be. Now imagine instead of email money transfers, we had to do mail cow transfers. And what if you were a vegetarian and didn't eat meat? Or what if you simply didn't want anything to do with a cow? What then would you do with the cow if someone wanted to barter with you? As you can see, bartering requires something called dual coincidence of wants, which means that if we are going to trade goods and services, then both parties involved in the transaction need to have items to exchange that are of the same perceived value, and each party is willing to accept these said items. Let's look at an example. Let's say that you want the newest set of headphones and you want to exchange them for a pair of very popular shoes that you happen to have. Let's look at what has to happen in order for you to be able to complete this transaction. 1. You will need to find someone that has the headphones you're looking for and is willing to trade them. Then, that person also has to want the shoes that you're looking to exchange for the headphones. Then, that person has to have the same shoe size as you do. And finally, that person has to give the same value to your shoes as they have given to their headphones. Sounds difficult, doesn't it? That's because it is. This is why money was introduced, to simplify the exchange of goods and services. Let's look at the example above using money as the exchange method. 1. You sell your shoes to a person who wants them and is willing to pay you the amount of money you're asking for. Then, you use the money you receive for the sale of your shoes in exchange for the headphones you want from a person selling the headphones at the price that he or she is asking for them. Although you still need to find a person to buy your shoes and a person to sell you the headphones, this is much simpler because it does not have to be the same person. In this example, the dual coincidence of wants is money. Sammy asks, does this mean that money itself can be considered a good? Sammy, being the ever-savvy fox, was right on the money, no pun intended. One of the earliest forms of money were gold and silver coins. Their value was measured by how much gold or silver was contained in each coin, and as such, the coin's weight determined its worth. As people deposited these coins into the early forms of banks, they received a paper note that entitled them to the value of gold or silver that they had just deposited. In time, these paper notes became a common form of trade as they were much easier to carry than the amount of gold or silver coins they represented. This was the birth of paper money we commonly know today. Even the US dollar at one point represented a set amount of gold. The last system used, where the US dollar was backed or guaranteed by a set amount of gold, was called the Bretton Woods system. This system was in effect from 1944 to 1971. The system was designed to bring stability to the world markets and certain countries tied the value of their national currency to the US dollar. If so desired, these countries could exchange the US dollars for gold from the US government. The exchange was set to 1 ounce of gold for every 35 US dollars. The Bretton Woods system was terminated on August 15, 1971, when US President Richard Nixon severed the tie between the US dollar and gold. This decision led to our current currency system called fiat currency. Fiat currency is not backed or guaranteed by anything. It is simply mandated by each country's government which currency must be accepted within each respective country. For example, if you're in Canada, you must use Canadian dollars to make a purchase, while if in Britain, you would be required to use the British pound. However, none of these currencies represent any set amount of gold or anything else for that matter. It is simply the decree of the government and the basis that society values money which makes money valuable in our day and age. Let's take a look at some Sami insights. Did you know that traditionally gold is measured in troy ounces? A troy ounce is 1.09714,326 times greater than a regular ounce. As such, if you were to weigh gold on a regular scale, you need 1.09714,326 ounces in order to make 1 ounce of gold. Did you know that the first use of paper money was in China in the year 806? Now Sami asks, is money today nothing more than a piece of fancy paper or a number in your bank account? Arguably, yes. Imagine the following scenario. You travel back in time to a year where money had not yet been invented and no one had heard of a US dollar. Do you think anyone would trade you anything of value for your US dollar? The answer is likely no, because at this time in human history, the US dollar would be nothing more than a piece of paper with a number on it, and no one else had yet placed value on your US dollar. You may be asking, so why then are US dollars valuable? The answer is because everyone in our society values them. The topic of the value of money is one that could get more complex, specifically when you start examining how money is created. This, however, is a topic you will cover later in your economic studies as you progress through high school, college, and/or university. As we conclude this lesson, Sami wants to remind you to stay in school and study hard so that in the future you can have a better chance of making lots of money to satisfy all your wants and needs. It is now time to take Sami Save-A-Lot's test for a chance to earn Sami money. Remember that you will earn Sami money that you can use in the marketplace by simply answering each question. However, you will earn extra Sami money if you answer the question correctly. Press the Take Test Now button at the bottom of the lesson when ready.